Another thing teachers might have is speaking up about new ideas or not agreeing with something. And I'm not saying we should be argumentative. I think we should always be looking for solutions, problem solving. But sometimes problem solving, for us to solve problems, sometimes ourselves and other people around us have to accept that maybe we haven't quite got it right yet. But before I go on, if anybody who's watching this has got somewhere in their teaching life or the personal life that where you're telling yourself you're not ready, and maybe you want some help with it, or you just want to share, maybe you could comment, drop it in the comments. So, but that's why ideally, I'm a single parent, but ideally the male and female roles, that doesn't necessarily have to be done by a man and a woman, but the male and female roles in parenting is very important, because the mother is nurturing and protective and cuddly, and the dad's like shoves them out there and gives them the courage and lets them fall. And so that's why both roles are very important for a child, growing up, if it's possible. In promotion and leadership roles, try applying for them, even changing year groups, actually. So about May, we find out if we're being moved around, because in May we can hand in our notice, so we might not be there in September. So they wait until they know what staff they've got and who they need to employ, and then sometimes they'll have a shuffle around. And so teaching assistants and teachers might be moved from key stage 2, a year 6 class, and they might be put in nursery or something, and it's a big difference. And it's very difficult, I think, for teachers who have been in one year group for a while, because it gets comfortable, because we can just keep pulling out the same plans and giving them a tweak. We know where everything is. We know what the year's going to look like.
It's a very great example of comfort zone shift.
Yeah, so that we can have a negative feeling towards that and feel like we're not going to be good at it, but it's knowing that this is the chance to grow and learn more, isn't it? Be good in another area. So another thing teachers might have is speaking up about new ideas or not agreeing with something. And I'm not saying we should be argumentative. I think we should always be looking for solutions, problem solving. But sometimes problem solving, for us to solve problems, sometimes ourselves and other people around us have to accept that maybe we haven't quite got it right yet. If some people think that they've got it right and are not open to the possibility that it could be better, then we just stay stuck, don't we, as a team? So it's having the confidence to challenge something can be difficult, and thinking that people will think differently of you if you don't agree with the status quo or whatever. So that might be another place where you think you're not ready yet to speak what your mind. Running initiatives or doing an inset day. I know that was something that I would be terrified of doing. Staff meetings, I was okay in front of children, but in front of adults, my social anxiety would be through the roof. And it's funny, actually, because some people have said, oh, you didn't. In my head, I'm like, I'm stuttering, I'm sweating. I'm like, I can't even remember what I said, because I'm in my head going, oh. And then other people have said, oh, it was good. And then, your perception in your own head, you're causing your own pain, aren't you? But I was terrible for it. And so because I would feel so awful, I would make myself feel so awful, I would be really fearful of doing them, and I would avoid, I wouldn't be volunteering to talk to the staff. So, or running clubs as well, after school clubs or whatever. Our TAs in our school do a lot of different after school clubs. Moving to a new school. So I'm not ready to leave. I'm not happy here, but And I know for myself going, oh, but I know how it works here, you know.
Yeah,
And
it's the same with any job. Yeah,
I
it
would
is.
say that actually, before you leave a place, then I would seriously think about doing some mindset tricks, because stuff, work, and inner healing, because I'm in a very different place in the same school, if you see what I mean. And the only thing that changed was me.
But that's the
So,
fact. Like, yeah, you know, it is that mindset. But anytime you're in the wrong situation or the wrong job or whatever it is, you know, where we get so comfortable, and like, you know, even in relationships, you know, we can suffer from abuse and trauma, and we're literally like, we have one good day and it's like, oh, maybe it'll be fine, maybe it'll be okay, and then you remember it all again, and it's just like, it's so familiar, you've known it for so long. It's like, if I leave this, you know, what am I going to do? How am I going to go out on my own, or, you know, change the situation? But this is the thing, like, you know, we get so comfortable in that familiarity that we can put up with abuse or toxicity. So it's just be very mindful of.
it's not comfortable, it's ground down in narcissistic
Yeah,
relationships, to be fair, isn't it? It's just like feeling like you're not good enough, nobody else would want you, you know.
yeah, it's this kind of, yeah, it comes back to self-worth again in anything, whether it's your job or a toxic relationship. You're literally so afraid that you won't be accepted by another thing or another place or another relationship, that you're like, maybe this is all there is, maybe this is all I deserve, maybe I shouldn't move. So yeah, it comes back down to healing what you have, changing your mindset, and then you're appreciated. And what you did in your job was, you did you fixed your mindset and you changed the situation around you, which is another thing you can do. But obviously that wouldn't happen in toxic relationships. They're the things you have to get out of. But when it comes to a job environment, you can actually change your internal system to change the external system.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah. um and speaking at a conference or creating online content, this is one for you, really. But also, as you know, in schools you might have to do that, speak on behalf of the school somewhere, or you might want to talk about an initiative or create a webinar or
Yeah,
something.
like that was the fears I was having lately, like doing a webinar or doing a workshop. And I was just like, I've done live videos. I'm doing live videos every week. And I literally just reframed it and said, it's literally just an hour long video. That's an hour, you know, you can have them a bit longer. But I reframed it instead of going, oh my God, this is this big scary thing that's out of my comfort zone. I was just like, no, it's just literally doing an hour video. That's life. I'm able to do that. So what's the difference? And I've learned how to do PowerPoints and all that kind of stuff in presentations anyway. So I literally just reframed it and the fears have gone. And I'm like, it's not, you know, that's the beauty of reframing. All these fears are coming in and about this big scary thing. And I was like, this thing isn't even that scary. I'm doing it every week anyway, effectively, on this life.
Yeah, well, so for me, which is ridiculous. So I my school has won an award for excellence in Manchester schools, Manchester Healthy Schools Excellence Award for the staff wellbeing initiative, which is really lovely. And initially I was like, woo! And then straight after I was like, oh, what? You know, there's this like award ceremony. I'm like, what if they ask me something about it? You know, you know, oh, what if they don't think it's really initiative? What if it's not good enough? And I'm like, you won the award, Carol. You did it. You know, and along with my school, obviously they worked with me, but like it was my ideas, and I filled out the form and gave them all the information, and I talk about mindset and all the stuff that, you know, gratitude. It's just insanity, isn't it? But yeah, I was filled with dread for a moment. I was like, gosh, what if somebody asked me to talk about it?
Yeah, and you forget that all the information is already in your mind. Like, you know, we can ask you anything on well-being and you have the answers and you're literally kind of going, freak out.
Yeah, yeah. So it can happen. It can happen wherever you are. It
Yeah,
was a
it's
bit like when I went to try out for Team GB the second time for the Great Britain martial arts team, and I walked into the room and it was all black belts, and I'm a brown belt now, but I was only a purple belt at the time, and I was just like, oh, I don't belong here. You know, all the women are black belts. What's going to happen? And once again, that was ridiculous. Of course, you deserve to be here. You've won medals. You've been
Yeah.
in the team before. You know, you've got a European medal. So,
Yeah, well, we
um,
tend to forget our achievements that got us to where we are now. And we're just, we think we don't belong here then. And it's just like, remember where you were before you took all the steps to get right here. Like
yeah,
all the information you gained, all the training you've done to get yourself right here. And you're literally kind of going, oh, I'm not good enough. And it's like, yes, you are. Yes, you are.
that's it. I'm not ready is just another way of saying I'm not good enough,
Yeah,
isn't it?
that's it.
Essentially, and that's a deep-rooted insecurity, isn't
Yeah,
it?
and you helped me realize that last night when you coached me on this. Like I wasn't I was after feeling the surface of it, and I didn't actually realize the depths of my fear of rejection, and my fear of being abandoned, my fear of people not accepting me. That was a big one for me, and I was like, I didn't even know that was what I was afraid of. I thought I was just afraid of doing something new. But in actual fact, there was a deep wound there. It's the same wound over and over again. So it's interconnected to everything. For me personally, that worthiness wound. And it's just like when I realized that, I was like, what am I? Who cares? Like, I don't care whether people accept me or not. If you like me, you like me. If you don't, you don't. I'm here to share a message, and that's the importance of it. You know what I mean? And when I kind of realized that, I was like, I can heal this. I
Yeah.
can heal that unworthiness wound.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, you're someone who does a lot of introspection, and you're somebody who's been on a growth journey for a long time. You're very self-aware. You've done lots of challenging yourself and going out of your comfort zone, and even you are not immune to this stuff. You know, a lot of people have not done the work that you've done and are very much on autopilot. So it can happen to all of us. You know, it's and it's catching it when it happens. It's having an awareness that that it's coming from somewhere, and that leads perfectly into the next part. So, like, where is it coming from? And you've talked a lot about that. But before I go on, if anybody who's watching this has got somewhere in their teaching life or the personal life that where you're telling yourself you're not ready, and maybe you want some help with it, or you just want to share, uh, maybe you could comment, drop it in the comments. So, because we'd love to have a chat with you. And so, what lies beneath? So, as you've said, it's the fear of not being good enough. Um, Perfectionism, like we've said. So, needing everything to be ideal. All old stories from childhood and past setbacks, which is where our deep wounds come from. So, often it's not about now, it's about then. And our trauma responses. So, staying small is a safer place for us to be. Yeah. So, talking what's the main core wounds that we talk about, Angela?
So yeah, the biggest one, it's all interconnected. The fear of rejection, the fear of abandonment, fear of not being good enough, the feeling that you're not worthy, the feeling that you don't belong, the the fear of being seen, the fear of being accepted. It all stems down to your wounded inner child. This is the common denominator for all of us. There's some kind of inner child wounding that we need to face and heal, and a lot of times that's re-triggered by toxic and abusive relationships that we've been through as well. So this is all these different parts of ourselves that we have to look back on and see where we were feeling, where this wound was reopened or re-triggered. But it all really starts with reparenting your inner child. Because to me, that's the perfect way to gain that inner self-worth, that inner self-love. And when we love our inner child, we learn to love ourselves, and then we're not seeking that validation outside of ourselves. So the fear of rejection becomes, it's obsolete because we don't, it doesn't bother us. We start to see failure or rejection as that positive reinforcement in a sense.
Yeah, so it's important to remember that in our conscious waking hours, we are only using about 5% of our consciousness, which is the one that we relate to, the one that talks to us, the one that we think through, the one I certainly thought was me for a very long time. We're not our thoughts. But 95% of it, of running the show, is subconscious. So what we mean by subconscious is it's not in our awareness. It's not something that we have access to. Now we can get access to it when we are just falling asleep or just waking up, if we don't look at technology or bright lights. So for about 5 to 15 minutes, we're still in that state where things can sneak through, or we can speak to our subconscious. That's why we suggest doing affirmations and things then. And meditation, which has been what massively changed my life, or also can put you in that state where you can spend long periods awake but able to access your subconscious. And so people are on autopilot. We're all on autopilot. I'm on autopilot. There's things I do automatically without thinking. In fact, sometimes you may have this as well, you know, where you're driving to work and you get to work and you're like, heck, I can't remember the journey because you've just done it automatically. So autopilot's a great thing, because if we had to think about every little thing that we have to do, you know, even driving, if you think about it, when you don't have to think, if you've got a manual car, that I have to put my foot on the clutch and then I put my hand on there and then I move it round and then I lift the, you don't do that. You just do it automatically.
Yeah.
So if we didn't have autopilot, we wouldn't be able to think of bigger things and possibilities. So it's really a great thing. What's bad about it is that autopilot, we can get into bad habits and patterns, or when I say bad, ones that don't serve us, ones that don't help us or get us where we want to be. And they are often set in early life, from our parents. So our values can also be from our parents. So we're not saying that you might have had a beautiful home life, but you can still end up with patterns or beliefs or values that don't serve you. You may have had a traumatic time, or it might be that your parent had a traumatic time and their influence on you through you growing up has given you the same wound. So you don't have to have been abused. That's really important. You don't have to have been abused to have these core wounds. In fact, most people on some level will have a core wound. So I think often when we say these core wounds, people are a bit like, oh, well, I haven't got a core wound. But these are things that we pick up in early life when we don't understand things. So it might be like we've said before, that actually it was just strict parenting, or it might have even been a parenting in the way that at the time it was advised. So I know when I had my first son, it was the crying out thing was advised. You know, you were advised not to have them in your bed, and you were advised to do the crying out thing. So a baby or a small child or a tot, they're not going to understand that, you know, my parent is leaving me here crying for short periods because they love me. That's not how they're going to view it, you know. Or when they're drawn on the wall and they get told off that I'm drawing you a beautiful picture, mummy, on the wall. You know, they're not going to go, oh, you're not supposed to draw on walls. They're going to go, my mum hates me, I've done this beautiful picture for her. So it's things that are set really early in life when we don't really understand the logistics of everything. We don't understand the rules. And we are very egocentric until we're about, I can't remember, I used to do psychology, it's about 5 or something, 5 or 6. We're very egocentric, which means everything is related to us. So everything that happens is our fault, you know, essentially. It's all about us. So everything that happens is related to us. And so we can end up with these wounds from no fault of our parents. You know, they may have loved us very much. We might have had parents that have damaged us on purpose, you know, but in the main, some people may have been doing the best they could and may have not even done anything wrong. And we might view it.
But there's the other extreme as well. Like, you know, there are parents that can be over over-loving and over-mollycoddling and over-protective and wrap their child in cotton wool. But like the way I've said it before is like, if you don't touch the oven, you're never going to know the oven's hot. You know what I mean? Every child has been told not to touch the oven, and every child has touched the oven anyway, and we've all burned ourselves. But we needed to burn ourselves to know the oven was hot. We needed to fall off our bicycle to know how it hurts to fall off our bike.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, especially sometimes it's the mothers, over wrap their children in cotton wool, so they get to adult life and they have absolutely no common sense and social skills. So that's another type of wounding.
Pass on anxiety. Everything's scary. Don't do anything. Don't explore like a child should. And actually, I'm sure I've heard somewhere, can't remember the source, but that's why ideally, I'm a single parent, but ideally the male and female roles, that doesn't necessarily have to be done by a man and a woman, but the male and female roles in parenting is very important, because the mother is nurturing and protective and cuddly, and the dad's like shoves them out there and gives them the courage and lets them fall. And so that's why both roles are very important for a child, you know, growing up, if it's possible. That doesn't mean that a single parent can't do that. It's just, we need to be mindful to just not be all cuddly. Sometimes we have to go on, get on with it.
We need to have balance.
The more kids you have, the easier that is. But just because you haven't got time to mommy cuddle them, you know, all the time. They have to fend for themselves and look after each other a bit, I think, when you've got a big family. But yeah, it's being aware that but through love, these things can happen. We can cause anxiety. I mean, I don't like spiders, and so I'm sure I put that anxiety around spiders just because of how I behave when I see one, you know. Well, I'm reasonably calm, but if it touches me, I can't have it touch me. I have to catch it with a glass, and if it's very big, I scream first and then calm and then catch it, you know. So we pass these things on unintentionally as parents and not even realize that it's going to have an effect. So yeah, we can all have wounding, and it doesn't mean you're broken. It means that you're normal. but we shouldn't let them rule our lives. Yeah. And the other one that we mentioned was perfectionism. So when we strive, if we are a perfectionist, we do stifle our progress, because waiting for perfect just leaves so much space for overthinking and over planning, and then getting analysis paralysis, where we just don't move forward at all. Yeah. So
it's just do the thing, and that's look at me on Monday. I was going to do the thing, and I was just rushing around to do the thing because I was afraid if I don't do the thing now, I'll never do the thing. But it's like, and it's not simple. Like, you know, I've had fears around doing stuff around technology or doing assignments and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, I don't want to do it. But the minute I start doing it, the anxiety goes away, and I actually enjoy doing it. And I'm like, why was I delaying? The more you delay, the more anxious you get. And the thing isn't that scary in the first place. It's actually something that you'll actually enjoy. Yeah. So, you know, pull the band-aid off, just go for it. Go for it, because there's less fear in going for it than there is in waiting.